The wedding invitation had her name on it. Victoria Chen, the woman Nathan Winters was trying to evict, was invited to his wedding. He'd never sent her an invitation. He'd never even told her he was getting married. Yet there it was, on her kitchen table, addressed in handwriting he didn't recognize. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy stories like this, be sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with someone who'd love it too. Nathan stood in the doorway of apartment 12D, staring at the envelope. His name was printed on the front in elegant script. Mr. Nathan Winters, and guest. The return address was his own office building downtown. Someone was playing games. Nathan didn't like games. He'd built a $100 million real estate empire by the age of 38 through one simple strategy: eliminate variables, control outcomes, never let emotion cloud judgment. Victoria Chen was a variable that needed eliminating. She'd lived in the Ashford building for 42 years, paid the same rent since 1982. $375 a month in a neighborhood where studios went for $4,000. Nathan had purchased the building 11 months ago. Demo permits approved. Luxury condos planned. Every tenant relocated. Except Victoria. She refused to leave. The legal notices started in March. 60 days to vacate. Financial assistance offered. Relocation stipend provided. Victoria signed the papers, took the money, stayed anyway. By June, Nathan's lawyers filed for formal eviction. Court date set for August 15th. Victoria showed up without representation, stood before the judge in a blue dress that looked older than Nathan. The judge asked if she had anything to say. Victoria looked directly at Nathan. "I'm staying because I made a promise. I told someone I'd be there when they needed me. I keep my promises." The judge ruled in Nathan's favor anyway. 30 days to vacate or face forcible removal. That was 3 weeks ago. Now, Nathan stood in her apartment, looking at a wedding invitation he definitely didn't send, wondering what kind of psychological warfare he'd walked into. "You shouldn't be here." Victoria's voice came from behind him. She stood in the hallway, carrying a paper bag of groceries. The door was open. "I don't lock it." "You should. This isn't a safe neighborhood anymore." Victoria smiled. It wasn't warm. It wasn't cold either. It was something else entirely. "I've lived here since you were born, Mr. Winters. I think I know the neighborhood." Nathan's jaw tightened. "I was born in 1986. You can't possibly know that." Victoria set the groceries on the counter. She moved slowly, deliberately, like someone who had all the time in the world. "March 7th, 1986, Roosevelt Hospital. You weighed 6 pounds, 9 ounces. The nurse who delivered you had a Scottish accent. Her name was Margaret." The floor seemed to tilt. Nathan's birth date was public record. Anyone could find that. But Roosevelt Hospital had closed in 1998. The records were digitized, scattered across 3 different databases. No one knew about the nurse. No one except Nathan, who'd tracked down Margaret Sullivan when he was 23, desperate for any connection to his past. Margaret had been dead for 6 years by the time he found her records. "How do you know that?" Victoria began unpacking groceries. Milk, bread, tea. She moved like Nathan wasn't there. "I know many things. I know you were adopted at 6 weeks old. I know the family who took you returned you after 8 months. I know you spent the next 17 years in the foster system. I know you put yourself through Columbia. I know that you made your first million by 26. Nathan's hands curled into fists. "You investigated me." "I didn't need to investigate. I already knew." "That's impossible." Victoria turned to face him fully. Her eyes were dark brown, almost black. Nathan's eyes were the same color. He'd never noticed before. "The eviction stands. You have 7 days." Nathan left before she could respond. He made it to the elevator before his hands started shaking. Nathan's fiancée, Jennifer, was waiting at the restaurant when he arrived 40 minutes late. "You look terrible." Building inspection ran long. The lie came automatically. Nathan had been lying about his past for so long, truth felt like a foreign language. Jennifer ordered wine. Nathan ordered scotch. "My mother wants to know about your family for the seating chart." "Tell her I don't have family." "Everyone has family, Nathan." "I don't." Jennifer's smile faltered. They'd been together for 2 years, engaged for 6 months. She knew about the foster care. She knew about the adoption that failed. She didn't know about the nightmares, the panic attacks, the reason Nathan never celebrated his birthday. She didn't know about Victoria Chen. "The caterer needs final numbers by Friday." Nathan drained his scotch. "Whatever you think is best." Jennifer's hand covered his. Her engagement ring caught the light. 3 carats. Flawless. Expensive. Nathan bought it because that's what successful men did. They bought rings. They got married. They built families, even if they didn't know what families were supposed to look like. "Are you okay?" "Fine. Just tired." Another lie. Nathan went back to the Ashford building at midnight. He told himself it was to check the security system, make sure the contractors hadn't left equipment in the lobby. But he took the elevator to the 12th floor. Victoria's apartment was dark, except for one window. The kitchen. Nathan used his master key. She was sitting at the table, surrounded by photographs. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, all of the same boy. Infant photos, toddler photos, school pictures, teenage years, young adult. The boy had dark eyes and Nathan's nose. The boy was Nathan. "Where did you get these?" Victoria didn't look up. "I took most of them. The others I bought." "You bought photographs of me?" "From your foster families, not all of them. Some refused, but enough were willing to sell memories they never wanted." Nathan's stomach turned. "That's insane. That's stalking." "It's motherhood." The word hung in the air like smoke. Nathan sat down hard in the chair across from her. "You're lying." Victoria slid a photograph across the table. It showed a young woman, maybe 19, holding a newborn. The woman had Victoria's face, 40 years younger. The baby had a birthmark on his left shoulder, shaped like a comma. Nathan had that exact birthmark. "I was 16 when I got pregnant. The father was 28, married, prominent family. When they found out, they gave me 2 options, abortion or adoption. I chose adoption because I thought you'd have a better life." Nathan couldn't breathe. "The family who adopted you were friends of your father's parents. They thought a baby would save their marriage. It didn't. They returned you like a defective purchase. I tried to get you back. Spent everything I had on lawyers. The courts said I'd given up my rights. I wasn't fit." Victoria's voice never wavered. She recited facts like a court reporter. "I moved into this building the day you were placed in your first foster home. The Ashford building was 6 blocks from the group facility. I could walk there, watch you play in the yard. I attended every school concert, every basketball game. I was always there, Nathan, just far enough away that no one noticed." Nathan's vision blurred. "Why?" "Because I promised. The day you were born, I held you for 17 minutes. I promised I'd make sure you were safe. I'd make sure you were okay, even if you never knew me, even if I had to love you from a distance." Nathan stood so fast, the chair fell backward. "This is insane. You're insane." "The wedding invitation was from me. I had your assistant's handwriting forged. I wanted to see if you'd notice, if any part of you would recognize me." "I don't know you." "Yes, you do. You've known since the first eviction notice." Why else would you come here yourself instead of sending your lawyers? Why else would you keep extending deadlines? You've delayed this eviction for 11 months, Nathan. You could have forced me out in 60 days. Nathan backed toward the door. The eviction stands. I'll have the police remove you if necessary. I know. Victoria's acceptance was somehow worse than anger would have been. Nathan ran. He made it to his car before he vomited in a trash can. The next morning, Nathan called his lawyer. I want Victoria Chen out today. Immediate forcible eviction. I don't care about the optics. Nathan, we should wait for today. His lawyer sighed. I'll make the calls. Nathan hung up and stared at his phone. He had 17 missed calls from Jennifer, a dozen texts asking where he was. The wedding was in 6 days. Nathan turned off his phone. The police arrived at the Ashford building at 2 p.m. Nathan watched from his car across the street. 2 officers, 1 social worker, standard procedure for elderly evictions. They knocked. No answer. They knocked again. Nothing. The super used his key. Nathan saw the officer's body language change immediately. One grabbed his radio. The other rushed inside. Nathan was running before he realized he'd left the car. He took the stairs. 12 flights. His lungs burned. Victoria was on the kitchen floor. The photographs were scattered around her like snow. The paramedics were already there. Nathan didn't remember them arriving. Sir, you need to step back. Is she alive? Sir, please, is she alive? One of the paramedics looked up. Young guy, sympathetic eyes. She's breathing barely. Looks like an overdose. Pills on the counter. Nathan's legs gave out. He sat on the floor while they worked, watched them insert an IV. Strap her to a gurney. The senior paramedic paused beside him. Are you family? Nathan looked at Victoria's face. Pale. Still. Peaceful. Yes. The word came out as a whisper. Then you should come with us. Nathan rode in the ambulance. Held Victoria's hand. Watched the machines beep and flash. The paramedic asked questions. Nathan answered on autopilot. Name, age, medical history. He knew all of it. Had memorized her file weeks ago when the eviction started. He'd told himself it was due diligence. But he'd known. Some part of him had always known. The hospital was chaos, bright lights, sharp voices, forms to sign. Nathan signed everything. The doctor came out after 2 hours. She's stable. We pumped her stomach. She'll make it. Nathan's knees buckled. A nurse caught him. Can I see her? Family only. I'm her son. The doctor checked his clipboard. She listed you as next of kin. Nathan Winters. Says here you're her only family. Nathan followed the doctor to ICU. Victoria was awake. Tubes in her nose, wires on her chest. She looked small, fragile, ancient. You came. Nathan sat in the chair beside the bed. Why did you do it? Victoria's smile was sad. I kept my promise. I stayed in that apartment until you needed me. You needed me today. Even if you don't know it yet. I was evicting you. I know. I was going to force you onto the street. I know that too. Nathan put his head in his hands. I don't understand. Victoria's fingers brushed his hair. The touch was so gentle it hurt. You don't have to understand. You just have to let me love you. That's all I've ever wanted. Permission to love my son. Nathan broke. 38 years of walls came down in a single moment. He cried like he was 6 years old again. Like he was the kid who couldn't understand why nobody wanted him. Why he kept getting sent back. Why he wasn't enough. Victoria held him, stroked his hair, whispered words he'd needed his entire life. You're mine. You've always been mine. I'm sorry I couldn't keep you safe. I'm sorry I failed you. But I never stopped loving you. Not for one single day. Nathan stayed in that hospital room for 3 days. He called Jennifer, told her the truth, all of it. She listened. Then she said she needed time. He understood. Nathan's lawyer called, asked about the eviction. Nathan fired him. The wedding was postponed, indefinitely. Nathan didn't care. He had something more important to do. Victoria was released from the hospital on a Tuesday. Nathan drove her home, not to the Ashford building, to his penthouse downtown, floor-to-ceiling windows, 3 bedrooms, space for a family he'd never thought he'd have. You're living with me. We'll figure out the rest later. Victoria didn't argue. Nathan hired contractors to convert the Ashford building into a nonprofit. Affordable housing for foster kids aging out of the system. Free rent for the first 2 years. Job training. Counseling. The kind of support Nathan had never received. Victoria helped, interviewed applicants, shared her story. Became the grandmother the kids had never had. Nathan watched her transform. Watched purpose replace pain. 6 months later, Nathan stood in the Ashford building lobby. Ribbon-cutting ceremony, press coverage, city officials. Victoria stood beside him, wearing a new blue dress, the same color as the old one, but this one wasn't worn by decades of waiting. The mayor asked Nathan to say a few words. Nathan looked at Victoria, at the woman who'd loved him from a distance for 38 years, who'd sacrificed everything for a promise no one else would have kept. Some people spend their whole lives looking for home. I found mine in the last place I expected, in the woman I tried to destroy. My mother taught me that love doesn't need permission. It doesn't need acknowledgement. It just needs to exist. And sometimes, if we're lucky, we get the chance to love them back. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. Nathan took her hand. For the first time in his life, he felt like he belonged to someone, and someone belonged to him. The adoption that failed. The foster homes that gave up, the years of emptiness, all of it led him here, to this moment, this woman, this impossible second chance. Nathan Winters finally understood what family meant. It wasn't blood. It wasn't obligation. It was showing up day after day, year after year, even when no one noticed, especially when no one noticed. Victoria had shown up for 38 years. Now it was Nathan's turn. If this story touched your heart, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that it's never too late for second chances. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss stories that matter, because the most powerful love stories aren't always about romance. Sometimes they're about finding your way home.